Hello YouTube, Damo_23 here, and welcome back to another episode of Glory Hunter. Today's episode, we have got the European South American Super Cup, which is the champions of the Euros play the champions of the Copa America. With that being said, if you do enjoy today's episode and you have been enjoying the content, do give it a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I don't express this enough in episodes, but please leave a comment. It really helps promote the episodes out to more viewers, of course, as well. Since we last met, we've obviously finished off the rest of the season. The DFB Pokal came and gone after we choked a lead against Hoffenheim. And, well, we're going to recap the DFB Pokal because things happened in there and we really should be German DFB Pokal champions right now, and we're not. With that as well, we have to talk about, in this episode very briefly, how we ended the season and how the squad looks and what maybe the plan is for next season, because next episode is going to be us starting season 12 and obviously looking to do still the German League Cup and then obviously the Spanish side of that as well. I'm going to start with the DFB Pokal though. Hoffenheim were eventual champions and they played Kiel in this final, which went to extra time. If you have a look at that in the semi-final, and you go to the semi-final, no Bayern Munich. That is correct. After we threw away a 2-0 lead and Hoffenheim beat us in extra time, Bayern lost their first game domestically to second Bundesliga Darmstadt. That is correct. I said that we had to win this game against Hoffenheim because if there's a world where they get absolutely FM Bayern, we should win it from here. And well, we didn't do our part and then Bayern got knocked out. We're not going to get an easier chance to win the whole competition. Hoffenheim then obviously went there in the semi-final and beat Darmstadt, who would have been Bayern. Kiel beating Dresden. We would have gone in and played a second Bundesliga tie in the semi and a second Bundesliga side in the final. We should have won the competition. I am very annoyed at that, but oh well, it is what it is. In terms of us, in terms of how we finished off the season here ourselves as well, we go to the schedule here. After that shocking defeat, we lost to Wolfsburg in a game we're absolutely demolished in, but only lost one more game against Leipzig throughout the rest of the season. Drew once to Mainz. Finished in pretty strong style, beating Frankfurt 6-0 and Cologne 6-2 on the final day, which means we did lock up a second place finish, 12 points back of Bayern, but ahead on Leipzig on goal difference, massively killing him in goal difference as well. 31 goals against 91 scored, nearly the most potent attack in the league, but conceding a little bit too much. Bayern nearly going undefeated. They lost 2 games, and their first loss came absolutely out of nowhere in the league in the third to last match day against Cologne, where they lost 4-0 away from home in a game that was very much a very drab affair that they scored every chance they had. And then to top it all off, they lost on the final day to Hertha Berlin in a dead rubber in a game that Bayern had over 2 XG and did not score. So, yeah, I'm worried about what Bayern can do next year. 88 points. Last year they got 81, 91, 86, 80. There is an undefeated season in all this run as well. There it is where they got 92. Yeah, Bayern have won the league every single season in this save. It's going to be a very hard team to overcome. Quickly, in terms of the squad, I've kind of picked what I believe is my best 11 at the moment and then kind of looked at some players on the bench. There is non-negotiables at who stay. Ernest, Giuseppe, Lito, Rafael Real is now being tutored as a world-class striker because he's developed quite nicely here, the 24-year-old. Only somehow capped twice by Spain. Hope he doesn't start for them against me today. Wanted by Chelsea now, was wanted by Liverpool last time. Absolutely elite, 6'4", finishes chances. What more do you want? 17 and 29 is nothing to be scoffed at. So he had a pretty good year. But other non-negotiables. Roger Vial, is world class and had a pretty good season. 12 goals, 7 assists from out wide. Blesser was a revelation. Won Bundesliga newcomer of Player of the Year, which goes to the best transferred in player of the season. 11 goals, 14 assists in 30 matches. That is a pretty incredible feat there of 25 goal returns in 30 matches. I would take that every time from a winger out wide. He's been sensational. He's a non-negotiable. He's sticking around as well. And obviously, Manuzzi has been just out of this world. I'm Mr. World Class. And, he's got 18 goal returns and linking up play as well. Haas has been fantastic too. Roy and Linden have formed a very good partnership. They're only going to get better as well at the back. But you can see the most notables. Lido has a bit of a question mark. He's my Brazilian number one. I'm going to stick with him next year. Kessie, we brought him in for depth. We brought him in to be an important player. Has decreased in how good he can be right now. And that's the issue. So Kessie's probably on his way out. You know, we've got some interest in a couple other centre defensive mids, and we have got 107 mil to spend. I think we could go big on a defensive midfielder. However, I've already made signings as well, which is great. You know, you've got guys like Manev on the bench, so we've actually got world-class depth on the bench. Xavi Simmons is now getting to that stage that maybe we could find someone better to come in at the 10. Roberto's not worth the money he's worth, so I might try and sip him off and find a better backup right winger too. But look, we're in a not bad spot with the squad. If I didn't make one signing apart from the signings I'm about to show you, I'm very happy with how the squad sits. However, you got 107 mil, you kind of look at it and go, we've got to spend it. But I want to talk about a couple of players coming in and a couple of players that we have on loan. So, first things first is if we go to Ibrick, who's a wonder kid who's now just turned 21, so he's no longer a wonder kid. He hasn't done much in his Bayer loan because he only went there 6 months ago. He's been a little bit injured. Very good-looking striker. If I sold a striker, Savial or Castro, who by the way is another non-negotiable, he's been fantastic too as a backup striker. I've got someone waiting in the wing, which is fine, which is more money for a 10. By the way, you look at Castro here, Diego Castro, 4.5 mil, 13 goals. It's only 10 starts and he got 13 goals. We like Diego Castro a lot. He's going to be good in Champions League next year. These boys are going to play more minutes. But, you know, you had someone, you know, like Ibrich on loan. Is he ready to come back? I'm probably going to loan him out again for full season. Next one that's got there is Ravunka and Varela are going to be sold. Hopefully next year we don't need him. But Adam is someone I'm very curious at. He's got leading Bundesliga potential. He's a good Bundesliga player at the moment. When you come to look at the defensive midfielders we have, he's at the same level as Chaput and Kessie. He's also got a little bit of potential. He's homegrown. When you look at him, he's physically very, very physical. He's got great range of passing with technique and okay mentals. At 22, is there more that he could do? Is his development maybe a little bit too far down the line? Maybe. But the thing I want to mention is we loaned him out to Hoffenheim. Hoffenheim had a good year. And, you know, he wasn't their best player. But if you look at their tactics screen, he started a lot of games for them. He started 24. If he's starting 24 for a side that finished 8th in the Bundesliga, surely that means he's good enough to be on my bench, come on and be a rotation player for me in the Bundesliga. It's like the perfect person to be in the Bundesliga. You're like, yep, you're fantastic. You're good enough to be in a mid-table side, which is great enough to be on my bench to come into a game if need be. Plus, being homegrown for the Champions League is massive. I actually think Mohamed Adam is a good enough player that I'm going to trigger the extension on in today's episode. And maybe he's going to come back with us and be on my bench. Because I actually tempted. The last one there is Ire Erif. Now, he's played in the second Bundesliga with SPVGG side that failed to get promoted. But he's touted as their best player. Now, the asked option is, Kanate's getting older but still got his physicals. Tamori's still better than this guy, but Tamori is declining quite rapidly and we do love him. Is this a guy that we go, you know what, at the same stage at 19, you hit that 3-star potential, you're a leading centre-back. Is he good enough to play for us? He's got 15 marking, 17 tackling, decent mentals and well-rounded physicals. Is he someone that can come back and go as the 4th choice centre-back? Because what that means, what you could do is sell Tamori. Now, we're not in a rush to get funds or wages off. He's 2.5 star. He's happy to be a squad player now. He's physically a little bit whatever. But if you compare the pair, see that Tamori's a little bit better. I think what we do with Ere is bring him back and see if he can get a loan into the Bundesliga. And if we're still here in 3rd season, which I think we will be, I think we're going to be here 5 or 6 years to beat Bayern. But we'll be in a very good spot because we're Dortmund. I think he's a guy that could be part of the potential squad that wins the Bundesliga like Adam. So there's a couple of guys that I wanted to mention, which is fine. Lastly, in terms of other guys there, Song could come back. He's got faster potential, current South Korean international. Might loan him back out, hopefully to a Bundesliga side. And then lucky last, I'll go to my club info screen. Daniel Bayer came back in, came through my intake. He's a player, but he's too far in down the track. Someone to keep an eye on. Perfect Paddock, welcome. Lastly, YouTube, before we get into this game here in a Brazilian sense, and I do have a signing that is actually going to lead us into a Brazilian sense, because all three are from Brazil. The World Cup's a year away. I'm kind of hoping that the Brazil national team will find out this in the not too distant future. Hopefully, don't expect us to win the World Cup. I know France did, and we didn't do it. We got the sack, and we finished in the third round, so might as well get the sack after getting FM by the Netherlands. I'm hoping because it's Brazil and they were seventh in the world when I took charge. I've got them up to fourth in the world now. I'm hoping that they turn around and go, we're good enough and we're happy enough with a semi-final. Or if I make the semi-final, lose, win the third place playoff, surely I'll keep my job. Because if I don't win it in this current cycle, I think the potential regions that are coming through at Brazil, I could win it in 6 years' time when the next one comes around. Will I have the opportunity? I won't know, because I'll have to get through this World Cup upcoming, and this team is good enough, as hopefully we'll see today in today's episode. But I want to speak about three players that I have picked up that do look very good. First, we're going to start actually with Joey Carlos. Now, as a regen, 19 years of age, easy 13 mil to pay to get him in. Physically very good, passing's very fantastic, can cross, can go up and down, mentally lacks a little bit, but we've always lacked a world-class or a proper replacement for Ernest the whole year. We got away with it because we weren't in the Champions League this year, and the one time Ernest was injured for a big game was Hoffenheim, and we got beat last episode. Check that out. With that being said, we've got a guy in that can grow into being very well. With that potential, he actually could become quite the player for us at Brazil. Now, we do have quite a fair few right-backs for Brazil, if I'm thinking international World Cup-wise. Won't make the next one, and the one in 6 years' time, you know, a couple of them getting old, like Vinicius Jr., but you've got Gagu. He probably doesn't get there, but he will get close. And, well, if I can monitor his progress while we're trying to do stuff here, and he can help me achieve the German side of the Glory Hunter, then this is great. Second player here, of course, there is Tyrone. Now, this is a signing that I love, because I know Tyrone is only 18. Gomez, who is starting today, is 20, and we brought him into the Brazilian squad at 19. I actually think this guy, with one very good year under his belt playing for me in Germany, like Gomez did when he went to Leipzig, this guy's going to be at the World Cup next year. That's my big shout, that I think Tyrone could be at the World Cup next year. We paid his release fees on his way to us. Have a look at him at 18 years of age. Mentally, I'm switched on. Technically, I can pass a ball. Physically, well-rounded enough that he could develop. I think he's great. I think for a young age, he's only going to get better playing in the Bundesliga week in, week out. I think Tyrone and Adam being my two backup defensive midfielders could be the thing. Sell on a Moko, get rid of Kessie, and then go buy a world-class and a defensive midfielder alongside Haas, and we could be in a really strong position in the engine room. Plus, for Brazil, I know where Joey Carlos can't maybe get into the national side for the next World Cup. I think Tyrone can. Lucky last is Edmondson. And look, first thing I am going to say, I picked this guy up. He joins me in 6 months' time. So the 1st of the 1st, 2024, when he turns 18 in December. On a free 2 mil compensation. Can't say no. The one thing I will say is 5'9", which is air. But out of all the players with the potential, this guy has the best potential in a national side in terms of you go and look for your under-21s, etc. He's got the biggest amount of potential. Because he has 5-star potential at an international level, which means getting compared to Victor Roque, and he's good. Second thing I will say, being at 17 years of age at 5'9", there is a world where he could get the 5'10", 5'11", which could be nice. But lastly is look how good he technically looks at a 17-year-old age as a goalkeeper. We also have Kobel leaving on a free next year, right? He's going to be here for the next season, that was season 12, but in season 13 he's gone. I'm not re-signing him. He's going to be your new backup number 2. 2 Brazilian guys in at the football club that are going to be developing, playing and vying for time, and they're probably going to be the 2 guys as well. Lucky last, I'm very happy to say he's also half Hong Kong. I don't know how you are, being from, Flamingo, but yeah, he's also half Hong Kong, which is ludicrous to me, but I find that very funny, probably where his height comes from as well. So 3 signings with an international view, 1 of them for the World Cup coming up in a year, 2 of them for in 6 years' time, if I'm still in charge of Brazil. We didn't win the World Cup, of course, as well. I will say this, that if I win the World Cup next year, I will probably still stay Brazil manager because I actually love the boys. Now, let's talk about Brazil itself. We're already qualified for the World Cup. Easy enough, qualified there, 4 points clear. I'm actually going to throw a couple guys there, international debut when I call up the World Cup squad after this episode. But This Spanish team that we're about to play is one of the best in the world. I don't think they're number one now. No, they are. They've moved back to number one. I think France was number one, and then England was number one for a bit. And it's all very close between those three. We have climbed up from 7th to 4th now, which is fantastic. Now, they've got a very good squad. Unai Emery's in charge. Inca Zoli is their best player. We know all about these guys. It's Spain, and they're young when in real life, and they're really good now. And there we are. Gomez is now the deep line playmaker there on support. The guy is incredible. He is fantastic. I love watching him. He's 20 years of age, and I'm telling you right now, if I make my sales and whatever, and this guy's a 68 mil release fee, I might just bring him in because I might just say, you know what? You're Brazilian, you're mine, I want you, bang, buy. I might just do it anyway because he's probably worth the money. Now, the team itself, this is a team that I think I would start. Minus Andre, I don't know which way I would go. I actually prefer to play on Gomez and Andre the other way around, but I'm going to do that for today's episode. I am leaning to this team that you see out here today, bar Blesser, who I'm giving the game because of his such good year with us, could be your World Cup squad in 12 months' time. So it's Lido, Vinicius, Tobias, Junior, Luis Felipe, Sergio. I think that is fine. I think that's a very good side and very decent back four as well. Obviously, left back's always been an issue for us, but it is what it is. Gomez and Andre. Gomez nailed on for the future as long as the injuries don't permit. Bless is fantastic. Valverde, Jontes, and Victor Roque are all world class and all doing things that are out of this world. And we have a very good team. We're only allowed 5 on the bench, and that's Rodrigo, Derbris, who could be the other defensive midfielder here, Joe Pedro, Martinelli, and Marcus Leandro. Leaves a few guys here on the bench in Rodrigo. It leaves Rodri out the team, which sounds ludicrous, and I might not for Martinelli. Vanderson, Valverdes, and Cesar Augusto, who would be the backup left back if we chose one on the bench. Now, after 16 minutes of talking, you guys want a game. So let's get into it here as well. Score predictions here in the chat. We do have that Spanish squad there about to line up against us as well. Let's go and have a look how they're lining up. Be a 4-3-3 for sure. 4-4-2. Spain playing Brexit football. Unreal. Unai Simon in net, still world class at 35. Garcia at 32, still world class. Adrian Armagol, my boy, who we had at Hippus, look how good he is starting in the middle with Pascal on the other side, who, to be fair, he's not great. He's at Bayern, but he's not great. We need to get at him. Jose Marchi is very, very good at what he does. Zoli, Francisco Sanchez, look how good he looks there at Arsenal. Holy hell. Nico at 31. Brian Gill's 32 and has had an illustrious career. Yeremy Pino's 30. Does this make you feel old yet in the save? And Ansu Fati's 30 and is world class. Just to make matters even better, they have Gavi on the bench for whatever reason as well. Let's go, boys. Let's get into this one here. Score prediction in the chat. Can we go and beat the Euro champions in what would be a very good game? It's been 16 minutes of talking about next season, what the squad looks like, and a very nice Brazilian theme we're building at Dortmund to hopefully help us win the World Cup or have a very good campaign and then look to be still the Brazilian manager next time around. Let's get on the way. Off we go. This is not an episode that is part of Glory Hunter. I'm sorry, not a competition that is part of Glory Hunter, but oh boy, nor was the Copa America, and we were excited when we won that. Yeremy Pino, Lito saves, only as far as Armagol. Blessed clears off the line. It's going to stay 0-0 just after not the most convincing keeping. Blessed commits another foul, so the pressure stays on here. Hoping that's the end of the highlight. It's not. So Pino's going to have another opportunity here. Lito needs to be alert. When they've hit the post, that's a goal kick. First one, Lito should have done better with, didn't. And then the second one's hit the post and nearly gone in. Yeremy Pino's up for this one. Even in possession, this is a very counter-pressing system, so I don't mind that. But 4-4-2 always does worry me when I play this 4-2-3-1. Time ticks away. Jose Marsa finds Gil, Marsa, Pascal, Sanchez, Armagol, Ansu Fati. Little bit too penned in here. We can't get out. We had that one away though. Jontes now. Roque wanted it on the break. We've got options here on this right-hand side. Jontes carries. Vinicius Tobias is good. He looks for Valverde, who is starting for what reason? I forgot to put in my No, that's Valverde, not Valadares. Sorry, two guys with a similar name. Zolio cuts at the fatty. Lito, what a save! Looked like it was got to go in front stick. Lito does well. 40 minutes in, still 0-0. Jeremy Pino with a corner and cleared away by Junior. Jose Marta, Jeremy Pino. Yet to get a highlight. Should have had a highlight then. It was poor build-up from us because we were out and on the break. Victor Roque flies in. And at the moment, after half-time, it's 0-0. We're in the game still, but I am going to tell it was unacceptable because we did not have any real attacking cutting edge in terms of a highlight. If you look at the stats of the game, it's actually been fairly even. Spain's probably had the better chance. But yeah, Ansu Fati. Blesser flies in again. We can't get near them at the moment at all. Unai Emery in this 4-4-2 has got them playing Butler. It is Spain, of course they're playing Butler. Eric Garcia looks for Zulio, who gets down the line, and that's Fati, and that's 1-0. One thing I will say is I have not beaten Spain in any international match that I've played in this save. We lost to them in France in an international game in the International League group. We lost to them also in a knockout stage of that competition as well. And well, we're 1-0 down here with Brazil in the final of the South American European final. Corner though, first highlight, Victor Roque whips it. Junior! First highlight came in the 60th minute for us and it hits the top of the bar. A response finally from the lads. 65 minutes played. I am going to get a couple of changes out there. Rodrigo for Blesser. Verdes in for Andre. I think that's going to be the way we're going to go with this one here as well. And we're going to leave one last change to go absolutely gung-ho if needed. Time is ticking. Is there a moment out here? Ball over the top. Luis Felipe does well. Junior. Vinicius. Debras. Rodrigo. Great boy out the other side. Sergio now. Jonathan. Needs options. Gets to the byline. Cuts it. Roque deflected it in. And we've got an equaliser in the 74th minute. Front stick. It's Roque. And it is 1-1. I don't know if it goes to extra time then pens. And I don't know if it goes straight to penalties. If it finishes level. A great run from Jonathan. And well, in the end, slight defection of Armagol, I reckon it was. No, Pascal. That's beaten Unai Simon. Should have went in anyway. But there we go. 78 minutes played. I am going to have a look at penalty takers. Jonathan's got no real penalties. So if Leandro's got penalties, he's got 11. Or Pedro's got 13. Yeah, Joe Pedro, mate, you're going in to take a penalty. Now Verde's going to move out wide. Pedro through the middle. I think that's what we're going to do. Pedro as a shadow striker, though. He has scored goals in qualifying as a shadow striker. Changes will take effect after the next break in play. Vinicius, Debras, looking for Rodrigo, through, cuts it, Roque, oh, he's missed the gilt-edged chance. The world-class Victor Roque has missed a sitter. Corner, though. Victor Roque, Lewis heads over, wasn't even close that time. Since the goal in the 65th minute, we've started to dominate Spain now. We've been the better team in the last 10-15 minutes. Is there something late doors for us to win this one? It goes straight to a shootout. There we go. Vinicius Tobias to take the first penalty. That's fine. Pedro will take the second. Rodrigo will take the third. Roque in all-important spot number 4. Look, and young Gomez is going to take number 5. Because, well, I need him to. Then after that, it's pick of the draw. We're not the best penalty takers, but we've got 4 good ones. Vinicius to get us off to a good start. Pedro's anxious, but he's a non-penalty take for us. Rodrigo's pretty decent. Roque is our best. And we'll take Mr. Important number 4 to keep us in or win us the game. And Gomez, the youngster, with a lot of pressure on him, will be kick number 5. Stay calm and back yourself, boys. It's a shootout for the Sam Cup. Fati steps up. Lito went the right way. Unfortunately, didn't get a hand. Unai Simon with a very, very, very experienced career versus Vinicius Tobias And well, that's a penalty and a half inside of the post and in. 2 good penalties to keep it at 1-1 here. Brian Gill versus Lido. The left-footer Gill, and down the middle he goes, and in the end Lido moved, as you probably would. And now Joe Pedro, he looked anxious in the team talk, but he's a natural penalty taker. Steps up, and well, there was a fingertip on it there from Unai Simon, but it's gone in and it's 2-2. Novoya steps up versus Lido. Oh, Lido with a mistake. Straight at him, he stayed middle, and all he could do was parry it into the net. Rodrigo to get us back to 3-3. Mr. Experience steps up, sends the keeper the wrong way. The first time a keeper has gone in kind of the wrong direction. Lido obviously went one way, down the middle was the other. But Zolio, world-class Zolio versus Lido. And that's a penalty. Lido going the right way, but into the bottom corner. Now Victor Roque, one of the best penalty takers in the world, steps up for 4-4. Unai Simon doesn't get near it. And that was in the back of the net before Simon knew about it. 4-4 after 4 each. Vencedor, Lido beat. Not good keeping. If he got a dive, commit, buddy. If he did, it would have been a save. It wasn't the best penalty. It was tentative. It wasn't even inside the post. It was about here where my mouse is. Now, this is the penalty I'm most worried about. It's young Gomez at 19 years of age, but he's got massive amounts of composure. He's world class. Gomez! Ooh, a mistake from Unai Simon, and we're still alive. Light Lido, one straight at him, parries it into the bar, and it goes in. After 5 each, we're off to sudden death. Sanchez now. Can Lido be a hero? Sanchez versus Lido. Oh, Sanchez has put it into the next postcode. And like Sergio Ramos of old, he has flown that one to the moon. And well, I don't know who's going to take this because we didn't pick it. Valverde, who's a world-class player who can't take a penalty with a chance to win the Sam's Cup. Valverde wasn't convincing, but it's in. Another mistake from Unai Simon in the shootout, and we have beaten Spain. And to cap off what's been a very fantastic episode, we are the Sam's Cup winners, which is the Euro Sam Super Cup winners. And we might just be favourites for the World Cup next year. I don't know. Are we? Guess that's what this means. Add that one to the Excel spreadsheet. I'll do that in my own time as we're currently live on stream. Links down below to come follow us live on Twitch here, YouTube. If you've enjoyed the episode, by the way, I love that the screen in the top right corner, if you rewind, had the boys celebrating, which is fantastic. The screen that was in that corner there when the boys were on the podium. I love that. But boys, if you've enjoyed, and that was an episode where we went through everything and we won a game in a shootout, I love it. That like one of those screens had us celebrating. It was great. Look, Jonathan's had a pretty good game. He came off. He was probably man of the match out here. That was fantastic. The keeping of the shootout for 2 world-class keepers. Emi Martinez would have won that shootout about 3 times over. But there we go. We are the winners. And I'm very happy with that. We react positively, as we should. And well, lads, next time we see each other, as mentioned, be the start of next season. Season 12 of Glory Hunter. We're still 2 trophies away in I was about to say Belgium, because buying starts with B. 2 trophies away in Germany. And we'll be 2 trophies away in Spain, and then just the World Cup to go. We might be favourites for that World Cup. We'll see you next time. Thank you, and goodbye.